It's not even been a month since Voyagers for No Man's Sky came out, and already there are tons of insane creations floating out there for people's personal Corvettes. So much so that Sean Murray himself has been posting non-stop images from the community showing off some of the coolest builds. And every single time I see one, I just get more and more upset that there's not a way to check these out for myself. And judging by the reactions from my ex-posts as well as somebody reposting this on Reddit, I'm not the only one. The only thing is though that a lot of people have been suggesting a bunch of different ways to do this, but I had my thoughts on the easiest way they could probably do it, which was done for another game I used to cover a lot on this channel. And it's, I think, exactly the kind of system that No Man's Sky could implement pretty easily as compared to developing a whole patch or system around it, which would definitely be even better. But if they wanted to get this out the door sooner, I think that this might be the best way to do it. Let me show you exactly how it works. Right after, of course, I tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Incogni. A few years ago, my identity was stolen, and I'm still dealing with the fallout from that today. It happened because my personal info, social security number, address, work history, all that was already on the internet floating around, being sold or hacked by whoever wanted it. And it's not just your name or email. Data brokers trade your phone number, relatives, shopping habits, even your full employment history. If one of those companies gets hacked, like what happened with me, it can get ugly fast. That's why I use Incogni. They get that data deleted right away. They reach out to the data brokers that have it for you and handle all that nasty back and forth. And now with their new custom removals feature in their unlimited and family unlimited plans, if you find out any of your information is on those people search websites out there, a privacy agent will reach out and get your info taken down. When I signed up, I found that over 90 companies were holding my personal info, and it kept growing after that. So no wonder I kept getting invited to those shady investor groups. So if you want a little bit more peace of mind like me, go on over to incogni.com/morphologist and use code morphologist for 60% off. And if it's not for you, you can always get your money back with their 30-day money back guarantee. So once again, that's incogni.com/morphologist and use code morphologist. First and foremost, I'm not a developer, so I'm not here to tell Hello Games how to do their job. This is more so just to talk about another game that has a lot of creativity in it and how they handled sharing people's creations, drawing directly from the game's files using a third-party system, in this case being the Steam Workshop. Now, in Space Engineers, you can create a variety of incredibly detailed and elaborate devices and ships and tanks even, like this one that I made, and you can go and save them onto the Steam Workshop directly from a menu in the game. Now obviously, this can't work directly for No Man's Sky. It's a completely different type of game. It's not a sandbox building game, it's a sandbox exploration space game. But what Space Engineers developers did was created a tool in-game to allow you to designate what you want to make a blueprint out of, and then to use that to export that information from the game's files to a downloadable file that can be shared via the Steam Workshop. Now these files can be shared without using the Steam Workshop. You can actually just copy and paste them to other people and they can have them show up in their game. And actually, No Man's Sky is pretty similar in this sense, as there are already people in the community who have figured out how to access the Corvette files through the JSON No Man's Sky files to be able to copy paste the code that basically saves your Corvette to somebody else's save, effectively allowing you to copy paste a quote unquote blueprint. However, I do not recommend doing this without knowing a lot about how to edit, because you have a very good chance of messing up your game save file forever. So if you're going to do this, which I again don't recommend, make sure you do your research first. So basically what we're talking about here is just the developers going in and figuring out how to create a simple system to designate the blueprint of a ship to be able to export that as a file so that it can be shared around the community through either peer-to-peer or through the Steam Workshop, as has been done with Space Engineers. Now obviously, again, not knowing too much about development, it would still create some work for them to do. They would still have to create some system to designate what is a blueprint for Corvettes in No Man's Sky, but the rest could be up to the community to share. But this is probably not the best solution in the long term because, as you probably are already reading in the comments, this is not going to work for people who are playing on console. And for that to be able to work, then they're going to have to do something a little bit more. So here's where I'm going to share a bit of my wish list for how I hope that they could do it so that it could work for everybody who plays No Man's Sky. And while I tell you about it, I'm also going to show you guys a little breakdown of the Corvette I showed off in my last video, so that those of you asking in the comments to show how to build it kind of know how to do it. I mean, it's not a step-by-step one like the last guide, but at least it should get you going on how this thing is put together. At least until we get, an update that allows us to share these blueprints more natively. So I think the better way to do it is probably to create some kind of exchange that you can visit directly in one of the social hubs. Say, for example, you could go to the Nexus, and the Nexus now has a new place, a new kiosk that you can go to where you can upload and download the blueprints for somebody's Corvette, requiring you to actually acquire all the materials in order to assemble it. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it is to actually just have the Corvette as a purchasable item that you can access directly from said kiosk. But that would indeed require them have a server to save all this information, which can add overhead cost. So an alternative to this could perhaps just be going to the person that you want to get the blueprint from and asking them to share it to you directly in game. So you just go up to them and say, can I purchase your ship? Or can I purchase your blueprint? Just like you do with NPCs right now, and then you get the Corvette from them. That could create some pretty cool organic experiences and interactions with other members of the community. Imagine you go to the Nexus and you see somebody's really cool Corvette design, and you really would like to get that design from them. You can go up to them in the Nexus and ask them to trade and strike up a conversation on how they put it together and make a new friend and get a cool new Corvette. I actually maybe like this idea even better than a kiosk. Personally, guys, I'm looking at all of these cool designs and I'm just thinking, what a cool thing to have come out for No Man's Sky, to have all of this creativity on display for people to see flying around. Now, bases are one thing located on planets, because those are things that are a little harder to get to. You need to know which planet somebody's design is on, and then you need to know where it is on the planet. Planets are massive, but ships, on the other hand, you can encounter them in the Nexus, fly around with them if your friends have them. So it's definitely a better way of showing off one's creativity, and I'm loving it. With so much of the community behind this kind of idea, and with the long track record of Sean Murray delivering some really cool follow-up patches to fill out No Man's Sky and go way beyond the scope they originally set, I think it's a pretty safe bet to say that they're probably already discussing internally how they might accomplish this. So yeah, I want to know your ideas down below. Share down in the comments section how you'd like to see this integrated, or if you like my two ideas that I offered here, in addition to the workshop idea, which unfortunately would only really work for people on PC. I'm excited to discuss this one with you guys, so I'll see you down in the comments section and hope to see you, as always, in the next one.